This is Dr. V. Maria Antoninate Martin, Assistant Professor, Department of Information Technology, St. Joseph's College, Trichy. I am here to discuss about servlets in Java. Let us now take a look at the introduction to servlets and web pages, servlet lifecycle. Let us now see a brief introduction about servlets. Servlets are small Java programs that run inside servers. The expansion of JSDK is Java Servlet Development Kit. It contains the tools that are needed for creating and using the servlets. Here, API is expanded as Application Program Interface. The Servlet API is the server's environment or protocol. Servlets can be embedded in many different servers. Let us now see about servlets and web pages. Web pages are of two types: static web page and dynamic web page. Let us now discuss about static web page. When a user wants to view a static web page, he enters the URL of that web page in the address box of the browser. URL is expanded as Universal Resource Locator. The browser in turn generates a HTTP request to the appropriate web server. HTTP is expanded as Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Let us now discuss about dynamic web page. A user may want to view a web page that provide dynamic content. Dynamic means changes in the web page content. For example, consider a database that stores information about an online bookstore. Assume that this online bookstore wants to make the information in this database accessible to its customers through web pages. The contents of web pages must be dynamically generated in order to reflect the latest information. Earlier, CGI scripts were used to dynamically construct web pages. CGI is expanded as Common Gateway Interface. Now, the servlets are widely used to generate dynamic web pages. Let us now see the life cycle of a servlet. Figure A represents the servlet life cycle. A servlet has the following life cycle methods: init method, service method, destroy method. These methods are central to the life cycle of a servlet. These methods are implemented by every servlet. A server loads and initializes the servlet using the init method. The servlet handles one or more client requests using service method. The servlet is deactivated when the destroy method is called or when the server is terminated. Let us now see an example regarding servlet lifecycle. A typical scenario in which a client uses a servlet contains the following steps. A user enters the URL for a servlet in the address box of the browser and presses the Go button. The browser then generates a HTTP request for this URL and sends it to the appropriate server. This HTTP request is received by the web server. The server maps this request to a particular servlet. The servlet is dynamically retrieved and loaded into the address space of the server. In this stage, the server invokes the init method of the servlet. The server will invoke the init method only when toServlet is loaded into the memory for the first time. The values of the initialization parameters can be passed to the servlet. The init must be called by the servlet container before the servlet can service any request. The server invokes the servlet's service method. The server invokes this method to process the HTTP request. The servlet can read the data that has been provided in the HTTP request. The servlet will process the received data and formulate an HTTP response to the client. The service method is invoked for handling each HTTP request. The servlet remains in the server's address space and it is available to process any number of HTTP requests received from the client. When there are no more HTTP requests from the clients, the server will decide to unload the servlet from its memory. At this stage, the server invokes the destroy method of the servlet. I hope you understood about servlets in Java. Thank you.